Okay, let's unpack this. In our, well, increasingly connected world, the digital lines between your personal information and the crucial infrastructure that powers our daily lives, they're blurring faster than ever.
Hmm.
Imagine the digital heart of a state as vast and vital as Texas. What happens when it's under attack? And maybe more importantly, how are we fighting back to protect it all?
That's right. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the truly complex and dynamic world of cybersecurity right there in Texas. We'll journey from the very personal realm of user data privacy, the information that defines you online, all the way to the foundational protections of our critical infrastructure. Things like the energy grids that light up homes and the water systems that keep them running.
Essential stuff.
Absolutely. We'll explore the sophisticated threats targeting these systems, the specialized defenses being deployed, and the broader national efforts supporting states like Texas in this constant battle. It's a challenge that really interconnects your digital life with the physical world.
Our mission for you today is clear. We're going to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge. We want to help you understand precisely how these digital threats can impact both your personal life and the essential services you rely on every single day. We'll focus specifically on the groundbreaking actions and, frankly, the significant challenges Texas is facing right now. I've got a stack of fascinating sources to guide us, from Texas Attorney General press releases highlighting some major privacy victories to detailed NIST's guidelines on industrial control systems.
Very technical stuff there.
Right,
Yeah.
and even some thought-provoking analyses from the Atlantic Council and NATO on these global supply chain risks. We're going to connect these dots for you, revealing a landscape of, well, unseen battles and constant vigilance. But before we jump right into the heart of the matter, a quick word from our sponsor, www.cisomarketplace.com. They're really helping organizations navigate the complexities of cybersecurity with trusted solutions and expert guidance. So check them out, www.cisomarketplace.com.
The digital frontier in Texas, personal data on the line.
Okay, let's start with something incredibly close to home for all of us, your personal data. You might think of privacy laws as, I don't know, abstract legal documents, something happening way in the background.
Yeah, easy to ignore sometimes.
But here in Texas, we're seeing some really tangible and actually pretty significant action on the front lines of data protection. The State Attorney General, Ken Paxton, has been remarkably active in this space,
Yeah.
making headlines for his office's proactive stance.
What's truly fascinating here is the sheer scale and the proactive nature of these enforcement actions, especially when they're targeting large tech companies. Just recently, Attorney General Ken Paxton secured a monumental, and I mean monumental, $1.4 billion settlement with Meta.
Billion, with a B.
With a B, yeah. And this wasn't just any data privacy case. It's specifically targeted the unauthorized capture of personal biometric data, things like, facial scans or voice prints. The settlement marks the largest ever obtained from a single state's action, not just in Texas, but nationwide.
That's an astonishing figure for a single state to achieve. So what kind of precedent does a settlement of that magnitude really set? I mean, what are the broader implications for us, for consumers, or even for other tech companies? Does it mean Texas is just, really serious about biometrics?
Oh, it's a game changer. It really is. This doesn't just send a clear, unequivocal message to Meta. It signals to all tech giants that states are increasingly willing to aggressively pursue privacy violations, even for data that might seem less obvious than, say, a credit card number.
Right.
For consumers, it validates that their biometric data is, sacred and protected under law. It gives them more confidence that states will fight for their digital rights. And for other states, it provides a powerful blueprint, maybe some motivation to pursue similar actions. We could see a ripple effect across the country in how biometric data is handled.
So it forces companies to rethink things.
From the ground up, yeah, rethink their data collection practices.
That's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about one massive settlement, right?
No, not at all.
We've also seen Attorney General Paxton sue TikTok for sharing minors' personal data, which was a clear violation of Texas parental consent law.
Kids' data is a huge focus.
And looking at more recent events, as of September 3, 2025, another significant lawsuit was filed against a big tech company, unspecified, but big for a catastrophic data breach. This one compromised the personal information of over 880,000 Texas school-age children and teachers.
Wow.
These aren't just legal battles, they're direct hits on hundreds of thousands of individual lives. Real people.
These incidents really underscore a fundamental vulnerability. our children's data. And it raises an important question. What kind of privacy framework is Texas actually operating under to enable these robust actions? The Texas Data Privacy and Security Act, or TXDTSA, plays a crucial role here.
Okay.
This act goes beyond just basic personal identifiable information. It even addresses something called pseudonymous data.
Pseudonymous, what's that exactly?
It's basically information that can't directly identify you without some extra separate piece of information, like a key that's kept securely somewhere else. Think of it like a coded nickname.
Oh, yeah.
The law ensures that key is kept incredibly secure and separate, making it much harder for anyone to link that nickname back to your real identity. It shows a pretty sophisticated and nuanced approach to data protection in the state. They understand that even data that isn't immediately identifiable still needs strong safeguards.
So what does this all mean for you, the individual listener, just going about your day?
Wow.
It signifies that Texas is actively enforcing laws to protect your most sensitive information, especially when it comes to highly personal data like biometrics and, crucially, the privacy of children's data.
Very important.
These cases highlight the very real-world impact of data breaches, not just financial, but deeply personal, and the significant push for accountability from companies operating within the state. It's a powerful message. Your digital identity is being taken seriously, and the state is, well, willing to step up to protect it.
Fortifying the foundation, critical infrastructure, and SCADA security.
So we've talked about safeguarding our personal digital identities.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift gears to something equally foundational, maybe even more so in some ways. The physical infrastructure.
Right. The stuff that keeps society running.
Exactly. The stuff that keeps our lights on, our water flowing, our cities actually functioning. Think about the massive energy sector in Texas, for example. You've got vast oil and gas pipelines, sprawling power plants, intricate transmission grids.
It's huge.
These systems aren't just vital. They are prime, really attractive targets for sophisticated cyber attacks that could have devastating real-world consequences.
Indeed. And under U.S. law, critical infrastructure is meticulously defined. It covers systems and assets, both physical and virtual, so vital that their incapacity or destruction would have a debilitating impact. We're talking national security, economic security, public health or safety, or, any combination of those. There are 18 such sectors defined, including energy, water, transportation, and nuclear reactors, all of which are deeply, deeply embedded in the daily life and economy of Texas. An attack on any of these could ripple through the entire state and, honestly, probably beyond.
And it's not just a theoretical concern, is it? I saw the Atlantic Council, a highly respected think tank, states quite emphatically that a cyber attack on our nation's critical infrastructure must be viewed as an attack on the nation itself.
That's correct.
Potentially warranting a military response. That's an incredibly powerful statement. How does that sort of reshape our understanding of national security, even the definition of warfare in the 21st century?
It absolutely redefines it, no question. This elevates cyber attacks from being just a tech problem or an IT issue to a national security imperative, truly on par with kinetic warfare, bombs and bullets. It means that the digital realm is now as critical a battlefield as land, sea, or air. Nations understand that crippling an adversary's power grid or water supply can have the same or maybe even greater debilitating effects than a traditional military strike. And you can do it without firing a single shot.
Wow.
This perspective forces governments to invest much more aggressively in cyber defense and, crucially, to develop clear doctrines for cyber retaliation, which is, frankly, an incredibly complex ethical and strategic challenge. It's a sobering reality of our digital age.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, then, many of these critical systems rely on something called industrial control systems, or ICS, sometimes known as SCADA systems, when they control assets spread out over large geographical areas, right?
Exactly. Supervisory control and data acquisition.
What's crucial to understand, you're saying, is that ICS are fundamentally different from the typical IT systems we use in offices.
That's a key distinction, absolutely key. ICS are time critical. They demand extremely high availability. They need to be up and running constantly. And they prioritize safety above absolutely everything else.
Safety first.
Always. For instance, a simple reboot, which is, common troubleshooting for your home computer or office PC.
Yeah, turn it off and on again.
Right. That could be catastrophic in an ICS environment. Imagine a reboot causing a power plant to suddenly go offline or a water treatment facility to stop functioning. It could affect production, cause physical damage, or even pose serious safety risks to people.
Okay.
Plus, their components often have much longer lifespans than typical IT equipment. We're talking decades sometimes. And some operating systems might even be unsupported, making patching and updates far more complex and risky than just clicking update.
So, given how delicate, vital, and interconnected these systems are, what's the fundamental security philosophy here? How do we even begin to protect something so complex and critical?
The overarching strategy is what we call defense in depth. It's not about having one super strong wall. It's about layering multiple security mechanisms, kind of like an onion.
Makes sense.
If one layer is somehow breached, there are others behind it to hopefully catch the intrusion, minimize the overall impact, and buy valuable time for detection and response. It's a recognition that, realistically, no single defense is ever foolproof.
That makes perfect sense. So it's about anticipating failure at different points. What does that actually look like in practice for these industrial systems? Is it just more firewalls?
Well, firewalls are part of it, but it's much more than that. It isn't a one-and-done solution. It involves implementing specific security policies tailored only for ICS environments, not just generic IT policies copy-pasted over.
Right, they're different beasts.
Exactly. A key element is rigorously segregating the networks, using firewalls and special zones called demilitarized zones, or DMZs, to prevent direct traffic flow between the corporate networks where, email and business stuff happens, and the critical control networks that actually manage the physical infrastructure.
Okay, so like an air gap almost.
Not quite an air gap, but a very controlled connection. Imagine two firewalls acting like a digital drawbridge or a secure gatehouse. In that space between them, the DMZ, you might have carefully selected hardened servers for things like data historians, which collect operational data from the industrial systems, or maybe patch management systems.
Ah, so data can get out, but bad stuff can't easily get in.
Precisely. This allows essential operational data to bridge safely to corporate systems for analysis without ever exposing the critical control network directly to the often more hostile environment of the corporate network or the internet. The overriding goal is to deny all traffic by default except for what is absolutely essential for the system to function safely and correctly. This significantly reduces the attack surface.
And it's also about being really careful with the digital doorways into these critical systems, right? You mentioned things like old protocols.
Yes, absolutely. We're talking about protocols like Telnet, FTP, or even basic HTTP. These were often designed decades ago, long before cybersecurity was the concern it is today. They frequently transmit data, including passwords, in plain text.
Ouch, not good.
Definitely not good. The NIST guidance on ICS security is very clear. These older, insecure protocols should ideally be blocked entirely or, at the very least, secured using modern methods like encrypted tunnels, maybe VPNs, and strong multi-factor authentication, because they are common, easy avenues for attacks.
Attackers love the easy route.
They always look for the path of least resistance, and these unsecure doorways are often it. Beyond network architecture and secure protocols, authentication is absolutely key. While traditional password authentication is common, it's notoriously vulnerable, especially in these environments, to things like eavesdropping or brute force attacks.
So that's better.
More secure methods are highly recommended for ICS. These include things like challengers response systems, physical tokens, maybe smart cards or USB dongles that provide a secret code, and even biometrics, though each has its own unique considerations for the often harsh and specialized industrial environment.
Right, you can't just stick a fingerprint reader on oily machinery easily.
Exactly. The key is finding solutions that are secure, but also don't introduce latency or disrupt critical operations. It's a balancing act.
It sounds like a constant battle, really, a continuous process of vigilance. And despite the best defenses, incidents are, unfortunately, probably inevitable at some point.
That's the reality, yes.
Which is why robust incident detection, response, and recovery plans are not just important, but absolutely essential.
They are critical. And the symptoms of an attack aren't always obvious, like a big red flashing light. They can be subtle. Think unusually heavy network traffic that doesn't make sense. Unexpected reboots of systems that should be rock-solid stable for months or years, or even unusual changes in operational parameters like a pump suddenly running faster or slower than it's scheduled to without any command being given.
Subtle clues.
Very subtle. Being able to detect these anomalies quickly is paramount to limiting damage and restoring operations safely. It requires specialized monitoring tools and, crucially, highly trained personnel who understand both the IT side and the operational technology, the OT side.
We'll be right back with more on the global interplay of these threats and the national response to them after this message from our sponsor, www.cisomarketplace.com. They're your go-to resource for top-tier cybersecurity solutions. Don't forget to check them out, www.cisomarketplace.com.
The global interplay and national shield. CISA, ICS CERT, and the Fusion Center concept.
Welcome back. When we talk about critical infrastructure, especially in a state like Texas with its vast energy and industrial sectors, we absolutely cannot ignore the global supply chain, can we?
No, you really can't. It's a huge factor. Many countries, including the U.S., are increasingly reliant on foreign-made technology. This is especially true in the booming clean energy sector, where the push to meet climate targets is accelerating adoption at, well, a rapid pace.
And that creates vulnerabilities.
It creates potentially critical vulnerabilities that demand very careful attention. Countries like China, for example, currently dominate the solar and wind power markets. They hold something like over 80% of global manufacturing capacity for solar photovoltaic or PV components and significant shares in wind power too. Now, while this obviously offers clear economic and environmental benefits, faster deployment, lower costs,
Sure.
their smart technology components, particularly things like the inverters for solar PV systems and the complex systems used in offshore wind farms, pose significant cyber risks.
How so? What kind of risk?
We're not just talking about the potential for theoretical built-in backdoors, although that's a concern. We're talking about the very real possibility of unauthorized remote control, leading to widespread power generation disruptions, maybe manipulating voltage to destabilize the grid,
Wow.
and even data leakage of sensitive information like private customer details or their Wi-Fi credentials if the devices connect that way. Offshore wind farms, in particular, are noted for their vulnerability because they're remote, hard to physically secure, and have complex cyber infrastructure connecting them back to shore.
So imagine someone having not just a back door, but like a kill switch,
Yeah.
or the ability to subtly mess with power distribution during a crisis.
That's exactly the kind of scenario that keeps security professionals up at night.
This reliance on foreign tech, especially from non-NATO countries perhaps, it really raises a thorny question, doesn't it? It sounds like that Huawei dilemma we heard about with 5G, but maybe applied to energy?
It's very similar, yes.
How are policymakers grappling with that tension? Balancing the need for rapid climate goal achievement with these very real national security risks.
It's a profound dilemma, and policymakers are absolutely wrestling with it. There's no easy answer. On one hand, there's immense pressure, political, social, environmental, to achieve climate targets quickly, and these foreign technologies are often more cost-effective and readily available right now.
Makes sense.
On the other hand, the national security implications of depending on potential adversaries for vital technology embedded deep within our critical infrastructure are, well, enormous. It creates this difficult matrix of challenges.
So what are the potential solutions?
Well, it involves things like diversifying supply chains, not putting all our eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
rigorous testing and certification of foreign components before they get installed, investing heavily in domestic manufacturing to build up our own capacity, and strengthening international partnerships with trusted allies to ensure a secure energy transition collectively. It's a multi-pronged approach.
Precisely. And this whole global interdependency thing, it just underscores the absolute need for a coordinated national response, right? It
Right.
can't just be Texas on its own.
No, definitely not.
This is where organizations like CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, come into play.
Exactly. CISO leads the national effort to understand, manage, and ultimately reduce risk to our nation's cyber infrastructure. They have a specific focus on the security and resilience of critical infrastructure across all those sectors we mentioned.
So CISA is like the national quarterback for this.
You can think of it that way, yeah. They provide a wealth of resources, direct services, best practices guides, alerts, all aimed at helping states and private sector organizations fortify their defenses. But they aren't doing it alone. A key part of that national network is the Industrial Control Systems Cyber Emergency Response Team, or IC-CERT.
IC-CERT, okay.
This is essentially the operational fusion center specifically for critical infrastructure cybersecurity. Think of it as the specialized nerve center.
So it's not just on Texas or individual companies like power plants or water utilities to figure this all out in isolation. There's a national support system, a critical safety net providing guidance and expertise.
Exactly right. That's the idea. ICS CERT collaborates extensively. They work with international CERTs, private sector CERTs, these cyber emergency response teams, to share critical, often time-sensitive information on control systems-related security incidents. And just as importantly, they disseminate effective mitigation measures. They provide detailed advisories on vulnerabilities, they can perform on-site deployments to help with incidents, and they publish technical vulnerability reports.
So it's a hub.
It's a centralized hub for threat intelligence, incident response coordination, and deep expertise specific to these unique industrial control systems. That specialization is invaluable.
So for states like Texas, dealing with this huge range of issues, everything from complex data privacy lawsuits against tech giants like we talked about, to the really intricate technical challenges of protecting massive oil pipelines, vast power grids, water treatment systems, they're not alone.
They're not alone.
They have the guidance and support of these national entities like CISA and IC-CERT. They help integrate efforts to identify what is critical infrastructure, assess the risks using detailed frameworks, and develop actionable plans for resilience against a threat landscape that is, let's face it, constantly evolving.
Constantly. It's truly a collaborative defense effort on multiple fronts, from the local level right up to the national and even global stage. Outro.
Wow. This deep dive has really highlighted the intricate web, hasn't it? This web of digital and physical security that really underpins our modern lives.
It really has.
From the personal biometric data stored, maybe insecurely in a social media app, all the way to the smart inverters on a solar farm powering our homes, the landscape of threats and defenses is constantly evolving. It demands continuous adaptation and vigilance from everyone involved.
And looking at the broader context, connecting all these pieces, it's clear that vigilance, yes, but also robust security architectures, like that defense in depth we talked about, and strong collaboration. That's key. Collaboration between state-level actions like those lawsuits, national frameworks from CISA and IC-CERT, and industry best practices, this holistic approach is absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
It's essential for protecting both individual personal privacy and the critical services we all rely on daily. The sheer scale and complexity of this challenge in a state as vital and expansive as Texas, with its massive energy sector and population, it truly reflects the national stakes involved in safeguarding our digital and physical world.
Indeed. And as we've explored the world of Texas's digital defenses and the broader implications for critical infrastructure, remember that staying informed is really your first line of defense in this interconnected world. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And remember our sponsor, www.cisomarketplace.com. They are a fantastic resource for all your cybersecurity needs. Check them out, www.cisomarketplace.com. So here's a final thought for you as you go about your day. What one piece of your digital or physical world, maybe your smart meter, maybe an app you use, maybe the traffic lights, are you now looking at differently? Understanding perhaps the layers of unseen protection and potential vulnerabilities just beneath the surface.